It's Hobby Love time! Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Asmogan and today we're going to be doing our next Hobby Love. I believe this is Hobby Love number 5. We're going to jump right into it because I have a lot of entries today and I'm going to try and fit them all in from the post I put up over on X. Yeah, I don't have much else. I don't want to do a huge preamble here. Let's jump right into the Hobby Love and let's check out those minis. Alright, small preamble before we get in. Normally, Lord Metalman is the one to create the big Hobby Loves over on the Twit. I decided to make this one because I haven't seen him post about it in a long while, and he does explain here in response to part of my post for the Hobby Love, explaining why he hasn't made one in a while, and I just wanted to read that off so you guys know why I'm the one who did it, and then we're going to get into the proper Hobby Love. So just real quick, Lord Metalman says, honestly, I've been so black-pilled on Warhammer as of late with X, constantly thinking I'm a bot because I tag people in Hobby Love, that I really just haven't bothered as of late. I might do one at the end of the month. And hopefully he does. And as for the black-pilling on Warhammer, I do understand, especially from a lore perspective. I don't want to hang on this too long for this video, but I do get it, man. And hopefully we get some news and stuff that makes Warhammer a little bit more brighter in terms of its future. I always hold out hope for that, even if it's a fool's hope, I still hold out for it. With the Hobby Love that I posted, I did tell people, I did warn them that this would be in a video form, so hopefully you guys paid attention to that. And I also said B to post in the second post, which is share minis here, the second post with all the tags of people. I had one guy, though, who decided, who probably read over that part because he left his minis in the replies of the first post. Which is fine, dude. I caught that, so you're still going to make it in the video if you wanted to be in the video. But for future reference, read the tweet. Alright, so we'll start with there then. So from Ghetto Geppetto, he has shared his 500-point list for the start of a Horus Heresy campaign. And these look awesome. I love these, actually. This is really, really cool of a Mechanicus army. These look 3D printed. These don't look like any official kits I know of. I really do. I can't tell if all of those Mechanicus insignias are painted or if these are all decals. I think they're all decals because the consistency on them is on point. And I can't imagine being able to do that with a brush too well. But that being said, there is clear painting talent here that I do believe the individual who painted all this would have the skill set to paint on the little symbol. Then again, this image, there's a slight shadow right here, which tells me it's actually not even a decal. It's an actual mold part on the print. Yeah, you can kind of see the protrusions there. So that is awesome, first of all. Okay, so that means it is painted on, because those are little protrusions. Those aren't even decals. Well, these ones might be, but on the these guys, they're definitely not. Okay, wow. Sorry, that took me aback. So I want to talk about the terrain first, because the terrain is awesome. It's on point and very consistent through all of these models. Like, these models all definitively look like they're from the same exact environment, which they should. It's the Adeptus Mechanicus, Mars. This is clearly going to be a defensive battle, or the idea of behind each of these minis is they're in a defensive battle on Mars. Unless these are... I'm assuming these are not supposed to be Trader Mechanicus. Usually there's some kind of indication on there. But this is during the Horus Heresy, where the Chaos Corruption physically hasn't taken hold of a lot of the traders quite yet, so it wouldn't necessarily be evident in their design. So technically speaking, you could play this as Defender Loyalist Mechanicus or Trader Dark Mechanicus. So I'm curious which route they're running from. I don't think I didn't notice that awesome Titan in the background. Jesus, dude. I feel like everyone I come across has a Titan. I'm the only guy who doesn't have a fucking Titan around here. Anyway. Yeah, I really like these models, too. The paint blocking and the actual color scheme is also spot on for Mechanicum. I love that red. Let's see if we can get another close-up photo here. So the color choice, I'm going to assume this is a Rune Lord Brass. I'm going to make some guesses. I'm probably going to be wrong because based on this photo, it's looking like he's using AK stuff, but he also has a Citadel paint. So I'm going to mostly, for my frame of reference, try and call these paints out, but given the range of paints people can be calling from to make their miniatures, I'm not going to necessarily be too accurate. But it looks like, to me, that Mephiston Red was used for a lot of the minis here. Again, could be wrong, but it's very, very, very similar to Mephiston Red, if not being Mephiston Red. And the vibrancy of it, the fade on several of these models for some of the... look at that dusting effect. The weathering is awesome right there. Like, that looks so natural with the terrain the miniature is on. I really love that dusting. I'm going to assume that's one of the AK environmental paints. I know the AK makes some. I have never used them, so I can't speak to their quality, but I'm going to assume that. And it does look like that consistency is held on some of these smaller mech models. And, oh wow, it's actually even being held up on with the troop choice. The helmet is fucking amazing, dude. I really do like the design here. And the paint scheme is on point for these models. Like, this is really, really solid work, my guy. Yeah. I don't really have much criticisms. Normally, the big criticism I've been hitting on with like a lot of these hobby loves is with people who either don't do terrain or haven't had a chance to finish doing their terrain. Here, that criticism doesn't exist. This terrain, perfect. The color choice and the paint scheme, nailed it. It feels mechanicum. It is both and the aesthetic choice of the models. Again, I'm assuming these are 3D printed. If not, I do not know what model kit these are from. These do not look familiar at all. But it looks really good, dude. Like, if I were to go against this army on the tabletop, I'd be like, bro, teach me your ways on some of this. I really do love this. Keep up the good work, man. Like, the work here on display, absolutely fantastic. The next poster we got up is a very familiar face on the Hobby Loves, that'd be Chaos Creation Minis, who decided to share on not just miniatures this time, but 2 paintings the man has done. Why? 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 At this point, you're just flexing. Christ's sake. This is just flexing at this point. God damn it. Holy crap, that is so good. This looks like it should be on like a professional poster for like advertising the game. Like, it is so fucking good. Like, the color choice. Like, I'm not one to judge like a traditional like painting. So I'm gonna focus on the miniatures. That's also to try and keep like each of these segments somewhat cohesive. But focusing on the miniature, looks baller, my guy. You painted a full-blown like skull painting, like an actual painting on the side of the goddamn tank. Like, it is just so good. Like, yeah. Like, there's no criticism. There's no criticism. I have nothing. This is perfect. Like, the color blocking, on point. The fade and the the effect you're going for on each of these little blocked out parts, absolutely perfected. Like, the consistency is almost alien. Are you an AI, my guy? Like, holy crap. But that is definitely an insult to you, because AI are nowhere near this fucking consistent or on point. Holy crap. The vibrancy, the color choice, all of it, awesome. That's it. That's all I got. Only compliments. I can try and find criticism, but I don't have any. I'm sorry. All right, next up we have from Azrael the Deathless. He says this is one of the last minis I did before taking a break for a few months. Understandable. Burnout hits us all. But I plan on getting back into it. Awesome. Hope you do, and hope to see more from you. And he decided to go with a Catan Shard. At least I believe that's what this unit is. I do really like the choice to go with a alternate color, because oftentimes with Necrons, like, the one downside with a lot of the painting I see with them is that a lot of people tend to just do the fallback of the energy color for them, which is a necrotic green, which again, I get. That Tesseract glow, like there's so much technical paints built for it, so it's already got some support to make it easier to make that glow effect. I totally get like doing the fallback for it. Plus, it is Necrons. At the end of the day, if you're going to go Necrons, going for that like glowing necrotic green makes sense. But it does tend to get a little old to look at after a while. There's only so much you can praise people's Necrons, but that color and like look at Necron models and see that same green over and over and over again before it just kind of it all kind of starts to look the same, even if the rest of the model is uniquely painted. Here, not such a problem. I do like the choice to go with a different color and to go with this orange, almost fiery. I go with orange, fiery, a little bit of like Halloween-y energy to it. Like, I do like this orange choice. It almost looks like sunset orange, but I'm not sure. Sunset orange for Vallejo. Vallejo, I think, has a paint called Sunset Orange. I might have the name not exactly right, but that paint looks similar, and I do like the choice to go for it. In terms of advice and criticism, I think the base is good. The base is really, really good. I like the stonework and the floating rocks. Like that is done very, very well, and that looks like runic stones. The problem is where the cutoff is for like what the miniature already comes with for parts of its rocky model. There's a steep cutoff from what's actually properly part of the environment that comes with the model and the rest of the base. The rest of the base leaves a little bit to be desired. So a little bit of advice, man. Just hit up the empty spots, the empty space there with something. Like, it doesn't need anything to be too fancy. Just take some like craft glue and put some like dirt on it, or if you have a texture paint, definitely recommend texture paints. They can save you a lot of trouble. So I'd recommend getting a texture paint and just hitting up those areas. Make the base feel like one cohesive environment rather than such a steep cutoff. Outside of that, like, there's not much of criticism. Again, the color blocking is great. The subtle addition of that energy kind of end towards the spear, really like that. I like the statue feel here. The paintwork that you did for the actual Catan's body itself, that necrodermis. It looks really, really solid. And the darker tone, I almost said the fade, but I think that's part of the lighting of the photograph. But it feels proper grimdark in terms of the style of most of the actual model, and it contrasts extremely well with the bright, vibrant orange of the energy. Some other further advice, this also is dependent on how comfortable you are with dry brushing, as well as how comfortable you are with an airbrush, if you happen to have one. And I always tell people an airbrush is a luxury item for miniature painting. It's not a necessity, and I do stand by that. A lot of what you can do with an airbrush, you can do with dry brushing or with wet blending. That is the truth of it. It's a convenient tool to make things easier, to an extent easier. It's more technically complicated, but tool-wise, it's easier to have an airbrush than to wet blend or to dry brush. But if you are comfortable with dry brushing and or wet blending and or have an airbrush, I would recommend hitting the spots that between the energy to actually give it that glow effect. As it is right now, there's such a cut between the model itself and the energy coils and the lightning energy there that they do kind of feel separate in an awkward way. If you could add like some implied glow from that energy and where it is being emanated from, I think that would help it feel all more connected in part and a lot more immersive of a miniature. This is all obviously just criticism. You can take it or leave it, but I do think it would enhance the model. But if you're satisfied with the way it is, it doesn't look bad at all. It looks great. I would be happy to see this on the tabletop and to go up against an army that contains a Catan unit like this. It looks great. It looks great. So be proud of yourself. Very well done. Can't wait to see more. Next up, we got from King Casual. The last mini he painted, converted Black Templar Terminator Apothecary, which I do like. Black Templars, always a win in my book. Top Space Marine chapter from the Best Legion as well. Let's see, just kind of glancing through the image. I do really like this Black Templar Terminator Apothecary. It does look really, really well done. I will say immediately the paint it just looks this way. I'm not saying like necessarily this is the case. The paint that you applied to the miniature looks a bit thick. I don't know if you had to do a lot of corrective painting or you just didn't thin your paints enough, and I never like to throw that on people because sometimes that can come off like an insult because it is one of the more basic things to learn when miniature painting is like thinning your paints. But even the basics are hard to maintain for everybody, I think. And I'm not saying that's the case here. I'm just being more general. But to be more specific to this model, the paint from the white does look a bit thick. I'm not saying it is. Maybe it was from corrective painting. I know when paint looks thick on my own models, oftentimes it's because I had to go over it so many different times because I made a mistake here or I went over this spot too many times and I have to correctively do it. Plus, white paint itself, depending on which white you use, because I know Citadel's white, they're white, which I think is it's like White Scar white or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I've never used, I've used their white before. I found that even when you thin it a lot, it either turns to a milky, shitty paint that barely applies. Like after six coats, it still doesn't look right. So I really don't like Citadel's white paints. So if you use that mixture of that and something else, it did. I don't know if you just didn't thin it enough, or I feel like I'm saying the wrong thing here. It looks a bit thick, especially on the actual Terminator helm here. I don't know if that's the mold of the model itself, or if that is again too many layers of the white paint. So without knowing that, I'll just simply say, despite that, it doesn't look like bad. It doesn't look absurdly bad or anything like that. It just looks a bit thick, and it doesn't ruin the artwork. The one here's the thing: if I lean out from the model, it looks extremely good. Really, most of the problems with this miniature are if you do close up and you look too much at certain parts and certain junctures here. But none of it is actually bad. I don't want to give that impression like this is bad. It's just, it is potentially a flaw with the overall paint scheme. The careful paint lines here by the purity seals also kind of looks like the white is peeling right there. I don't know. Can I get a zoom in on that? Hold on. Sorry, I also don't want to feel like I'm picking on you at all here, but unless the photograph is just a bit weird here, it looks like there's a slight peel there. I don't know what's going on there with the paint, but that might also be intentional because you did it what is supposed to be, and it looks like a very clear weathering effect of the paint chipping here, which by the way looks great. That looks awesome, and it's subtle enough to feel like the armor has been in battle, repainted over, been in battle, repainted over, but the edges are starting to kind of fray. That still feels very, very good. But if I had to say that weird peeling there, I'm not sure what that's about. Hyper-focusing too much on that aspect aside, the paint scheme, dead on and perfect for Black Templars. Really well done. I like the subtle edge highlights you did here. With the faint blue. That is very, very good. The stripping also makes it look like a weathering effect on top of it just also being a highlight. I do like that. The decal application, perfect. In fact, I'm not sure if that's a decal or hand-painted. It looks very, very good. The weathering edging you did all across looks awesome. The miniature looks great. It really, really does. It's got some minor flaws with the paint looking a bit thick in places, and again, this little bit of a peel here by the purity seals. But otherwise, it looks great. There is nothing here to be ashamed of. It is an awesome miniature, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future because there is a lot here that can be improved upon, but there's also a lot here that shows a clear care to detail, and I love that. So awesome work, King Casual. Can't wait to see more from you. Alright, so this one was a bit of a surprise. So from Guardsman Miku, we got a weeb. Anyway, from Guardsman Miku, a orc defense tower that they scratch built last week for a narrative Plan to Strike game on. Wow, okay. So this is scratch built. I'm going to assume by scratch built, it's mostly a combination of some random craft stuff you had to put together for it, as well as for something scrap built. This looks like it's from like some kind of official kit because it looks awesome. This would be a terrain piece I would want to buy. It looks great. So the tank head looks like it was taken from a Lehman Russ with maybe some modifications made to it. The body, I'm going to assume, was made with sprues and not chipboard, maybe chipboard. It doesn't look thick enough to be chipboard, so maybe it doesn't look like it's craft paper. If it's craft paper, if it's like a thicker craft paper, well done, because it does not, it looks more solid and thicker than craft paper. It looks really, really good. The paint scheme, by the way, is perfect. Like the weathering, the little environment at the bottom. It looks like a dirty environment. It's from the fade on the paintwork. Oh god, the more I look at it, the more I love. Everything about it looks spot on for orcs. Oh god, like look at that. That is so good. Like the metallic choices as well. I really, really like. Sometimes with things like this, there is an over-reliance on just doing everything metallic and then, like, maybe doing a dry brush. Here, no, you still took a lot of care. The fucking... I don't know if that's a decal. No, that's not a decal. I could see the paint, kind of, not striations, but the paint build up at certain parts of the checkboard. So that is very, very good. Like, the fact that you were able to do that, very impressive. Especially right here. This would have made me go insane. Like, that would have driven me nuts. Oh, God. Checkerboards are a nightmare. That's why I don't bother with them most of the time. So, the fact that you did, major props there alone. But the actual painting, the weathering, everything about this looks fantastic. I really don't have much criticism, if any. Like, for what it is, it looks perfect. Like, this is... It's for like everything I could point out, like, oh, it's like kind of really dirty, or the fade is a bit strong here or there. It still works for the environment that it potentially could be found in. Nothing really, like the random brush strokes here and there, that all adds to the weathering effect. It looks good. And also, whoops, it also, with the barrel down here and the barrel up here, it's clear you've left an articulation as well. It's not even a rigid, held solid. Well, maybe I'm wondering if the head moves. I'm curious if the actual head of the tank head moves. That would be even awesome. But even if it's just the barrel that moves up and down, that is still awesome. So yeah, I really don't have much criticism. I guess like the most I can throw at you for criticism is not necessarily tone down the weathering, but I'd say direct it a couple of places a bit more. I don't really have a good example on this image. Maybe the back. Dude, but honestly, no. Like, honestly, it looks good. Like, I'll leave it at that. It looks great. I have no criticism. All right, next up, we have from Dom. He's shared 2 pictures here. It's hard. I won't lie. This image in particular, it's hard for me to pick out what's miniatures and what's like action figures and stuff. I can't comment about the action figures. It's cool that you have them, but I can't really criticize them, obviously. I'm assuming that is the actual proper, like, yeah, it's got a base, so that's Angron, right? And most of these smaller guys are minis. I guess the first bit of criticism I will have is next time you take photos of miniatures, Dom, try and take the miniatures away from, like, other clutter, because that way it makes it easier for me to, like, nail out, like, okay, this is what he wants me to look at, and this is what, like, he would like to share. That's like the first little bit of criticism I'll give, and it's really nothing to do with the miniatures itself, but just the photography aspect. That being said, picking out the miniatures from the 2 photos, I'm mostly going to focus on this image. I believe that's Dante, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it's not Dante, but it's part of his, I think they're called the Sanguine. I'm not the most versed on the Blood Angels, but I believe it's like the Sanguine Guard or Sanguinian Guard or something like that. So I'm going to call this model Dante. I'm not sure if that is the actual proper Dante model. But Dante looks absolutely fucking baller. I love the gold. The gold looks really good. I'm not sure if that's non-metallic metal or if that is true metallic. It looks that good. So if it's non-metallic, well done. I can't tell the difference. It looks really, really good. I love that. I love the gold trim. I wonder if you do what I do. Oftentimes with HQs, I will paint a gold rim on the base, and then I'll leave like every other unit with like the standard black around the edge of the base. But even if you don't do that, I like that. The actual texture work and stuff on the base really does give it a very comfy, solid environment that is cohesive with itself. I do like that. I love the brush and I love the tufts. The tufts is always nice to see, as long as they're not like wickedly out of place. I've seen people put tufts like on just a black base and do no other like sand or dirt or anything else, just random tufts here and there to say they have a terrain. I hate that. Please don't do that. This isn't like a criticism of Dom. This is just general advice. Don't just put tufts on your base and call it good. Like, that does not mean you have an environment. Maybe that'll work for a tournament organizer. For me, not enough. That is not a terrain on your base. That is lazy. That is what that is. So if you do that, lazy, bad, don't do that. Your miniature may look great in terms of its paint scheme, but give it that completed feel. Do a terrain. It doesn't take much. You can just glue on some sparkles and speckles and call it a terrain. At least it's something. So don't just leave that base black. Give it life. Sorry, PSA over. Anyway, the model looks absolutely great. The color and the doing my best to try and zoom in and see the details a bit better. At a distance, it looks perfect. I will say that. Like, I could see no like anything really major to like poke out or say is like needs work or here and there. At a distance looks perfect. And miniatures in general, if at a distance you can't see a flaw, like when it's on the tabletop, keep in mind the miniatures most of the time you see it, it's going to be at that distance. You're rarely going to see it like up close for that level of scrutiny. So if it looks perfect, like a good arm's length away, honestly, all the criticism you might get from someone like a schmuck like me or a weirdo like me online. Honestly, I say schmuck. I don't even know what that word means, but I've been called it before, so whatever. But with a guy like me that is criticizing it, trying to give it like a detailed like opinion up close, honestly, as long as it looks damn near perfect at this distance that this like image is taken from, all of my criticism is just nitpicks at that point. Because what matters is how good it looks at this distance, and if it looks as good as it does at this distance, you don't need to worry about anything. Perfectly painted. So really solid work there, and even zoomed in, it does kind of hurt that with the picture quality I can't really give much more detail. But I do like the energy effects done at the edge of the axe. I do like that there was a different paint of the end of the barrel there. Gives it a bit more uniqueness. Sometimes I think, this happens to me a lot. Usually I'm satisfied with it. But I do like to see when somebody adds a little bit of a unique like paint end towards the actual end of the barrel. Normally I like the bluing, but that's still also kind of unique and it helps like your eye travel to the end of the gun when you're looking it over. So I do like that. Yeah. And generally speaking, the other miniatures, similar compliments. I do like the little plasma glow there. That looks really good. Yeah, all compliments all the way around. I really don't have much in terms of criticism. Only compliments. I think this is really well done. Thank you for sharing, Dom. All right, so I am almost out of time here. I've got to head out this morning, and then I have an appointment, and then I have to go to work. So I don't have a lot more time. I was hoping to get through all of these, but my nature is not, I'm not a very good rapid fire critiquer and like complimenter. I like to take time with everything I look at. So apologies that I haven't I'm not going through every single person who posted in response to my HobbyLove. And listen, I thank you guys so much that so many of you responded that I don't have the time to go through each and every single one with the eye that I do. That being said, that I'm going to do a HobbyLove next week as well. So for everybody I didn't cover in this HobbyLove, I will aim to cover next time. So again, thank you guys so much for responding, and I hope you guys are looking forward to that one. But we're going to end off here with Koopa and 4 really impressive minis, which I really don't have any criticisms of, but only compliments, but I want to sit here and compliment them. So Koopa shared what looks to be a Black Templar. No, that's a different sigil. I'm not sure which chapter this is, just eyeballing it. But a Terminator, which I really like this one. A Actually, I have one bit of criticism, and it's one I do say is not really one that you have to obey. I know plenty of people don't drill the gun barrels, and you don't need to, but it is something people do, and I will always recommend it, but it's not a necessity, so I wouldn't call it a criticism. So nitpick, drill your gun barrels if you want to. It really does. It really isn't that important, but it's going to be said enough by a lot of people. Might as well throw that one out there. You've probably heard it before, but outside of that, not really any complaints. Like the glow effect over here, fucking love it. I'm wondering if that's dry brushed. If that was done with an airbrush, it has a little bit of stippling there, like a little spackling, spackling. Particulates at the edge of it. So if that was done with an airbrush, I wonder if you did that on purpose. If you did, totally get it. It actually still looks great. If you did that with a dry brush, it's interesting. I don't see any striations and like scrapiness towards the end of it. That's usually like the downside with trying to simulate glow with a dry brush, is you do sometimes get that little, like scrapiness at the edge of where you intended to apply the glow. Either way, neither of those are negative, by the way. That's just me like denoting which it might be. It looks really good, and it gives a sense of belonging in whatever environment your character is in. And I do like the contrast of like the bright yellow glow here and a bright white glow here. Gives the idea that he is in a heavily lit environment while still having another source of light kind of like traveling with him. I love the base. The base is absolutely awesome. Yeah, like I really love this Terminator. That is really well done. Over here we have what I believe this is the Lion, right? Yeah, this is like the helmet version, which, by the way, superior version. Biased, but I think all combatants in like Space Marine like units, obviously this is a Primarch, but I think all combatants of like the Space Marine variety without helmets do not look as good as those with. I think the helm really brings them together as an aesthetic. Having something about human heads and like it kind of takes away from the severity of them sometimes. For lack of a better way to phrase this, and to try and phrase it succinctly, it humanizes them too much. To see their human faces with like their beards and stuff like that. I prefer to have that like that helm over them. That's not that, I'll call it the Stormtrooper effect. It makes them more imposing, less human, and more intimidating, which I think a Space Marine should be. So I definitely prefer when the source of Space Marines, the Primarchs, likewise have that helmed look. I wish I had a 360 look at this miniature, but even without that, fucking perfect. And by the way, massive kudos to you, Koopa, for going for that SPACEHULK Deathwing coloration with that like tanned white. I absolutely love that color choice that you decided to go with. Honestly, if I got a Lionel L. Johnson, that would have been my approach. I think that the official coloration they go for, which is with the now traditional Dark Angels green. Yeah, right here. I think, as much as this looks dope and this does look cool, honestly, your choice to go with the SPACEHULK Deathwing, I know that there's a specific segment of the Dark Angels that this is associated with, and I do know the name. It's just not coming to me right now, and I don't want to hold up everything to try and remember it or look it up. But I do like the choice to go with this coloration, and it's so perfect, might I add. Like also the little tufts on the base there, love it. Like I absolutely love everything about your choice with this model. The color blocking is perfect. The application of washes, nailed it. Honestly, like I have no criticisms here. This is a perfect Primarch paint choice. I love what you did with it. I love you decided to do more than like what the GW coloration suggestion is, because that's what we're here, by the way, to do as painters, is we add our own little fun flares to things, and we're not here to just copy and paste. As much as that's okay. Like if you choose to paint identical to like how the GW scheme is supposed to be for a given like chapter or legion, that's perfectly fine. And there's still plenty of unique creativity you could do with that. But as miniature painters and hobbyists, we're here to go wild and just really experiment and invent our own like ideas and like color schemes and really go wild. That's why I will always compliment someone's paint scheme if they decide to go for an unorthodox approach, or just a, even if it's something as, and I don't mean to demean when I say this, but even if it's as simple as just still going where a Legion's scheme, but just an alternate scheme within that Legion or chapter's history, that alone just adds so much to a model and making it all the more yours. Like you look at this and there's no way you're gonna mistake it for another person's Lionel Johnson, or the GW official scheme. Like, you're going for your own thing, and it looks so much better because you are. I love that. I hope to see more from you, Koopa, because between this and the first picture, goddamn. Also, it seems you got the, I believe this is one of the Warhammer Plus minis, right? It's the Tower Sniper, I believe that's the Vindicare. Yeah, because I'm trying to remember all the schools of assassins, because you have Vindicare, Exodite. Yeah, so this is the Vindicare assassin. I really do like the color blocking. It's very traditional for the scheme. I really like the fade as well for like the rubbery skin tight suit. But really the star of the show isn't even the Vindicare up top, as much as he might be for like the character in the scene. The actual environment he's on, that Sister of Battle, like broken up statue, which by the way, I always, whenever I see this particular model or a similar version of it, I always think of the scene from Planet of the Apes where he's like, "You maniac! You destroyed it all!" Like, and I love that, like, that, not wrought iron, that kind of like faded, like bronzy iron, or like that very deep metallic look and that fade and the weathering chosen to do here. I really do love that. It looks so damn good. For me, I would have done like a stony effect, because I'm boring that way. I would have done stone for like all the outer pieces, and then I would have done like a metallic like inside right there. But that I'm not saying what I would have done is better. What I would have done is nowhere near as good as this. I'm just like more boring. I like stone statues. So, but here, like, this took so much more skill, finesse, and technique to it, and it looks so damn good. It also looks like it wouldn't be out of place in something like BioShock as well. It looks really good. I love it, and honestly, it just compliments all the way around for this, honestly. And like, no different for crap. I know this guy. I have this model somewhere. Fuck. Okay, I'm not remembering his name right now. I might remember to put it in the editing for post, but fuck, I know this guy. I have this model somewhere in my pile of shame. I swear. Fuck. But anyway, focusing on the miniatures color scheme. I love the choice, again, like similar to the compliment I gave you for your Lionel choice. The choice to go for like a different color scheme than what like GW makes themselves for this given character, because I'm pretty sure the purple skin tone is a unique choice to yourself. It looks really, really good, and I love that you chose to do that. Makes him look all the more unique. Makes him almost look Slaneshi, but not quite, because it's a deep enough kind of like magenta that it could be Slaneshi, it could be Khorne, might even have a little bit of Nurgle in there. I do like that it still has a level of chaos undividedness, especially given that this character, one of their goals is to become their own chaos god. But I also like the armor choice, the fade of the colors. Oh god, it looks so good. The weathering is awesome. Honestly, I could stare at this for a couple more minutes and comment it. Again, that yellow choice also there, kind of like almost like Iron Warriors, kind of mechanical feeling of the edge of those blades. I really do love everything you've done with all these models, but with this one in particular, also looks really good. Also love the base that it's on. That's so fitting for the. God damn it. Overall, Koopa, damn. You did a great job with all these models. If I had to do a standout of like, hey, which of these four I think is the absolute best, honestly, it would probably be the your Lionel Johnson choice. Like, I love that scheme. I love what you decided to do with the color. The paint work is just masterfully flung. Like, I really, really, really love what you did here, and I wish I had a 360 view of this same model. Because I would love to like look at it from all angles. It looks so good, and I would love to see this on the tabletop. It looks really, really damn good, man. So thank you for sharing that. It looks really good. I love all these. They're all fantastic and very high quality. You should be proud of everything you've done here. We really, really should. Damn. All right, that's going to be it for this Hobby Love, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Lord Metalman, for being the man who's been hosting these for so long. And hopefully, I get to see you hosting more in the future. Sorry if I stole any of your thunder, bro. I wanted to, you know, see more of a latest update for people's stuff, and I saw that you hadn't posted one in a while. So again, don't mean to step on any toes. Just really wanted to kind of get a Hobby Love out there and wanted to see where people were at with their work. I myself am going to be working on a miniature painting project here soon. Of course, I got to finish a commission I was hired to do forever ago, and thank God I'm almost done that. But that aside, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are looking forward to a miniature painting video coming out here soon of me working on my World Eaters. I'm going to film that probably towards the end of the week and hopefully finish it by next week. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Love you all. Hope you all are having an awesome day wherever you guys are at. Hope you guys are enjoying your hobby work, and yeah, see you guys later. Bye-bye.